porch and a 266 square foot rear patio. We found this application meets the 4 tests of the minor variance and recommend the application for approval. We do say that the ARC assessment is warranted for this application. Agency comments received for the application were from Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board, who had no concern with the application, as well as ORCA, who did provide comments that they recommend that an erosion and sedimentation control be installed prior to, during, and after site alteration and maintained until soil disturbance is stabilized. As well, ORCA does say that they do require a permit prior to the development of this property. There are no other agency or public comments that were received in response to this application.
All right, thank you very much. And I see that we have one of the owners, Bernie O'Donoghue, on the line, and Ryan Hayter, who's a representative. Is there anything you wish to add to the comments that have been made?
Hi there, I'm Ryan Hayter. Thank you very much for taking this application today. I appreciate everybody's time here. If anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot them towards me. The only thing I read in the possible conditions is the condition of having the archaeological assessment. I'm not sure whether or not that is a requirement for all planning applications now, but this property has been developed a lot over the years, and it's definitely not in its natural state. But other than that, any questions, feel free to ask.
Right, thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know if anybody wants to comment on the question about the archaeological study. There.
Yep. Sorry, just getting unmuted here. So the condition is if excavation is required for the proposed development. I believe in our report for this one, the site was developed pre-1960. So yes, impact data for this one indicates that the existing dwelling was constructed in 1940. So the footprint of dwellings constructed prior to 1960 are not considered pre-disturbed. Therefore, an archaeological assessment is required. The idea behind that is that, at least from my understanding, is that many dwellings constructed prior to 1960 were solely built on piers and not full foundations, so that the area of the existing dwelling would not be considered previously disturbed. Obviously, if further information comes forward from the applicant to give us further information otherwise, that'll be taken into consideration. And once again, the condition is if excavation is required, right, then the ARC assessment is needed. And we can always assess that further if we get further information.
Right. Mr. Hayter, that's good.
Yeah, if we can assess it further as we're in the permit process, I'm assuming that's what we mean. There is excavation required, as there is an addition about 12 by 24 added on to the existing house. There is a basement in the existing home right now, so it is not just on piers.
Okay.
You can discuss this further with Mr. Lundberg. All right.
Wonderful, thank you.
And Mr. O'Donoghue, is there anything that you wanted to add to any of this conversation, or you're fine?
No, nothing groundbreaking from us. Just hoping to get our young family in there and start a home there.
Thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, was there anyone that had registered to oppose this application?
No, there wasn't.
All right, thank you. We'll bring it to committee. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to A4222, please, Brandon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So A4222 is for 3089 Cottage Lane. The reliefs for this application are to reduce the minimum high water setback from 30 meters to approximately 23 meters to an existing dwelling. The new foundation shall be located on the same footprint in the same location as the existing foundation. This is in order to convert an existing basement into a 1,614 square foot walkout basement. We found that this application does meet the 4 tests of the minor variance and recommend the application for approval. We do not find that an archaeological assessment is required for this assessment or for this application based on the building going on the existing footprint. Comments that were received from agencies were from Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board, who submitted comments of no concern. As well, comments were received from Orca requesting a planting plan. As well, Orca permit has already been issued for this development. There were no further public or agency comments received for this application.
All right, thank you very much. And I see the owner, Greg Patterson, is on the line. Is there anything you wish to add to the comments already given?
No, we were seeking some clarification on the planting plan, but we'll have no problems following the guidance of Orca, and look forward to getting approved.
All right, well, thank you very much. And Madam Clerk, was there anyone who registered to oppose this application?
No, there wasn't.
You, I'll bring it to committee. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will move on to A4322, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A4322 for 2989 Ayot's Point Lane. The relief seeked for this application are to increase the maximum height of an accessory structure from 4 meters to 6.4 meters in order to permit the construction of a new 1,914 square foot detached garage. We found that we found that this application meets 4 tests of the minor variance and recommend the application for approval. An archaeological assessment is warranted for this application. Agency comments were received from Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board, who had no comments of concern for the application. As well, comments were received from Orca, who requested that the applicant restore to the maximum extent possible the ecological features and function in development along the shoreline areas, as well as the applicant establishes or increases the extent and width of a vegetation protection zone along the shoreline to a minimum of 30 meters. Orca does not require a permit for this application. However, given the review of the existing site plan, if there is any change to the location of the septic, there may be future requirement for a permit from Autonomy Conservation if they alter the location of the septic and the proximity to the floodplain. No further comments were received from public or agencies for this application.
Right, thank you. Madam Clerk, was there anyone that registered for or against this application?
No one registered for this application.
You, I'll bring it to committee. Are there any questions? Andy.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you to staff. And I may be missing something here, but if you go to page 4 of the report, and where you've got the sort of the chart there, and it says height accessory structure maximum. It's about halfway down in that chart on page 4. I think that's what we're talking about. So in the first column, it's the zone regulation, which is 4 meters. The second column, which is existing, which means it's equal to or less than 4 meters. And then the third column, where I would expect to see 6 meters, I see no change. Am I missing something there?
Eric?
Yeah, no, I think you got that. That's probably error on my part in writing that up. I'm trying to figure out where did I put the height change in there? I might have put it in the wrong column.
Yeah, I couldn't find it.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that's an error. I can correct that. Obviously, it is the height of the accessory structure that is being given a change in this particular instance. So it should read 6.4 meters is the requested change in the proposed column.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
I guess the question is, did it go out to the public with that information or no?
I don't believe so, no, because that would have been gone the notice. Do you have the notice there handy, Brandy? Just have check that. Just flipping through the file here on my end.
The notice would have addressed the 6.4, or
Yeah.
sorry, 6.4 meter variance.
Thank you. And Donna, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, through you. When Brandy was presenting, she said if there was a change in the position or the location of the septic, there might have to be, I just forget, another inspection or what she said, but I don't see that anywhere in the conditions. Is that written somewhere and I'm missing it, Brandy?
It's not in the conditions. It was just an inclusion in the notes from Orca that we received.
So will that be attached to the file? Because that could get missed.
I believe that we could definitely include that as part of the file to ensure that the owner does receive that note. And I think Pear could possibly build that in as a condition.
We can elaborate on the condition, the condition of that Conservation Authority approval is required. It is already in there, but we could put a little further detail on the actual condition regarding the septic.
Please, that would be great. Thank you.
My thinking there was that although they say they're not, they sort of say they do and they don't need a permit. So we just decided that it would be better to leave it in that a permit or that approval from the Conservation Authority is required as per our standard conditions that we normally put out, but we will edit a little bit more into there, add a little bit more into that condition for this particular case.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we will move on to the last application, A4522, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Application A4522 for 1241 Buckhorn Road. The application seeks relief of the maximum height for an accessory structure from 4 meters to 6.5 meters to the roof midpoint. This is in order to permit the construction of a new 4,800 square foot dry storage shed. We found that this application meets the 4 tests of the minor variance and recommend the application for approval. Agency comments were received from Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board, who submitted comments of no concern. As well, comments were received from Orca. They do not have any issues with the application, provided the stormwater management and drainage plan for the site have been constructed per the approval dated November 13th, 2018. As well, a permit is not required from Orca for the proposed dry storage shed. No further comments from agencies or public members were received for this application.
All right, thank you very much. And the agent is on the line. Mr. Buckhart, is there anything you wish to add to the comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I really don't have anything more to add other than KD Properties Limited, Don Dyke, Kingdon Lumber Mart, or Timber Mart, I should say, is looking forward to constructing their dry storage building as it is as needed to store their goods and protect it from the weather. Thank you.
Very much. I see that there are a couple of questions that have been registered. We'll start with Mr. Peter Ludgate.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity to speak here. So I am a joint owner with my brother of the property directly to the east of the subject property. So,
Please.
sorry?
Can you please give us the address?
Oh, 1901 County Road 8 or 8th line. You got it? Okay. Anyway, so just a couple of questions that might be able to be cleared up right here. So I understand it's a variance for increasing the height of the storage building. Any further excavation that will be involved because of this height increase, I would be interested in. And as was mentioned there with the Orca concern, the effect on drainage. I do have one concern, and that is with the compliance to the erosion and sediment control plan that was put in place for this whole project. Obviously, this is a small part of a very big project. I'm somewhat confident that the increase in height will have a negligible effect on that. However, the conditions laid out in the erosion and sediment control plan require monitoring, weekly monitoring, and also monitoring after any significant rainfall and any maintenance on the sediment control to be carried out within 48 hours. We have had some problems, I'll say some significant problems of sediment coming onto our property. And when I say small problems, I'm talking about sediment to the depth of 2 feet coming through a fence. I'm not sure who I spoke to at Kingdon Lumber, but I did, they put us on to Drain Brothers. We have spoken to them multiple times, and over the course of the last year, by talking to Drain Brothers and also talking to the people actually doing the excavation, they keep saying that they'll address the concerns. That has yet to be done. The silt barrier has been overrun in multiple places. You can't even see it in multiple places. So in conclusion, I'd just like to say the particular variance that is being discussed here, I doubt that it will have any effect on that, but it is tied to the bigger project, and I do have a concern.
Right, Mr. Burkhart, do you want to speak to that?
Well, if there are conditions associated with the existing site plan agreement for the property that require ongoing sedimentation and erosion control, we can see to it that it is put in place as prescribed in the agreement.
Yes, thank you. And I see that there is Mr. George Ludgate. Did you have other questions, or was this in consideration of what Peter Ludgate has already said?
Sorry, Madam Chair, who is the question to?
George Ludgate.
I think, sorry, it's Peter Legate again. George was just going to listen in on this, so.
I saw that he was on the line, didn't want to So, all right. Is there anyone else that is opposed to this application?
We did have another individual request attendance for the meeting, but they have not joined the meeting. But I do note that the owner of the property, Don Dyke, is part of the meeting now, so he may want to add something.
Yes, that's true. So Mr. Dyke, is there anything that you would wish to add?
Not anything beyond the fact that, yes, I will contact and Peter and George, I certainly am concerned about your comments there. So I will get in contact with you very shortly about what's happening over there. As far as the project, the actual project we're doing will have, as Brian said, negligible effect on any of that, but there is some work that has to be done on the backside there of that property.
All right, thank you very much. I will now bring it to committee. Are there any questions? Donna?
Yes, through you to Brandy. When you started your presentation of this file, you talked about a 2018 agreement. Could you just repeat the details of that to me, because it's not written here?
Yeah, no problem. Through you, Madam Chair. The ORCA comment was provided. The stormwater management and drainage for the site have been constructed per the approved plan dated November 13th, 2018. So they're referring to the site plan and site plan agreement dated November 13, 2018 that spoke to the stormwater management of the property.
So does it sound like, from the neighbor's perspective, that the drainage problem has not been solved? Or the stormwater management problem?
Can I respond back to that?
Yes.
The final stormwater management and holding pond and all of that part has not been completed. We have, and we're not going to pick on COVID, but that seems to be part of the problem. We've had a very great difficulty in getting enough work done back there. So there's still work that has to be done to complete the entire stormwater management system.
Thank you for that. But I wonder why ORCA has signed off on it to say that it is complete. Chair?
Through you, Madam Chair, I'm thinking you're misunderstanding on something there. The Conservation Authority has stipulated in their comments that they're not opposed to this particular project for the storage building, provided that the stormwater management facilities are completed and installed as per the site plan agreement.
Okay, as long as that's clear then, because that isn't written in our report. Those specifics. That's fine then if it.
Yes, so through you, Madam Chair, at the time of the writing of the report, the Conservation Authority's comments had not been received at the date of the writing of that report, so they weren't included in the. But as a condition of the approval, we're building in that that the stormwater management facilities be completed in accordance with the approved site plan of November 2018.
Thank you.
So I have a comment, I have a concern and a comment on that. And that is that this in and of itself won't impact anything with regards to the stormwater management. Right now, we're having a great difficulty getting that final part totally completed. If they want the total stormwater management system completed before we can actually start this project, then we will have to wait for a variety of things, not the least of it to stop raining so that we can actually work in some of those areas. As far as the floodgates are concerned, we will endeavor to do something to make sure that there is less of a problem, that there is no problem back there. I was under the understanding that we had fixed that, but if we haven't, then I will certainly make sure that something is done so that there isn't any water going through to that area. If we are to complete the entire stormwater management plan and the pond and every other aspect of it, we're going to have certainly we can't do it this fall, and we're going to have a great deal of difficulty doing it until the weather is more suitable.
I just want to remind the committee that we're looking at a minor variance for height for a building. Jerry?
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with them going through with their development right now on the things, but just as a footnote, since we got on this question from Mr. Ludgate, I would like to see that done in a timely manner, and I do believe Per and maybe Robert should stay on top of this to get it to get this completed. You know, you don't mind a bit of water. I'm sure the lug gates don't mind a bit of water, but 2 feet of sludge is probably a little bit too much to ask for. And I know Don's a good corporate citizen, and I'm sure he'll get this looked after right away. But I'd like to see the boys stay on top of it.
Matthew, do you name noted, please? There.
Sorry, what was the question?
The question was, will it be duly noted that it be stayed on top of to fix the?
Oh. Sorry, yeah, in response to that, I just refer to my previous comments that we're making it a condition of the approval that the stormwater management facility be completed as per Conservation Authority recommendation through their comments.
Andy? Hit the wrong button.
I'm sorry, Pierre. And it may be just me, but you're confusing me. So there's a minor variance in front of us. It's a height variance. There is a pre-existing site plan agreement that is a separate issue. If I understand correctly, what we're trying to do is approve the height minor variance with an understanding of that you and your colleague staff members will ensure that the site plan agreement is completed at when it can be done according to the weather. But that was my understanding. But the way you just worded it, you would be saying that the site plan agreement must be 100% fulfilled before allowing the construction with the minor variance of height. Can you clarify which you're saying? Because they're two different things and I'm getting a little confused.
So, thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. So Robert and I both had conversations with the Conservation Authority in regard to this issue prior to the meeting. And it is their recommendation based on the review of this proposal for this storage facility that the stormwater management be completed. So keeping that in mind and the orca comments, the written comments that have been submitted, that is our recommendation to the Committee of Adjustment, that we include this as a condition of the approval.
Okay, but okay, Pierre, I'm sorry for pressing on this. When you say a condition, is the condition that the site plan agreement be completed before they can build the shed, or is the condition that the site plan agreement be completed as the way it's been written?
So the condition is that the stormwater management facilities be completed as a condition of prior to building the storage shed.
Well, Madam Chair, I think the site plan agreement has to be done, but I don't see where one is the condition on the other. That's what I'm having a challenge with. I don't know what my colleagues feel.
I'm thinking along the same lines you are. That yes, it has to be done, but I don't see that with this application, they're looking at how it's done. And the rest of our colleagues feel.
Sherry, Brian Bouchard, the agent, has his hand raised.
Mr. Bouchard, please.
I would concur with the feelings of some of the members of the committee that the site plan obligations are there. They just have to be complied with. The building height really doesn't, the variance regarding the building height doesn't really have anything to do with it. It's just a matter of achieving eventual compliance with the site plan agreement. I don't think it's fair to KD Properties to have to implement those improvements before they get a building permit for their dry storage shed.
And in the meantime, Mr. Dyke will be working with the neighbors to solve the problem they've got sooner rather than later. Correct, Mr. Dyke?
Sorry, I was just trying to unmute here. Yes, I will talk to them as soon as I can.
All right. So would that mean pair changing what you have there if it ends up that we ask that the work that ORC is looking for happen over the course of time, but that the building permit go forward?
So if it's the committee's recommendation that we remove that condition, we can revise the wording of that condition and not take into consideration the Conservation Authority's input and just leave that out. And just because the site plan, as Councillor Mitchell pointed out, that there is a site plan agreement in place from November of 2018, which is still in the completion of the stormwater management facilities.
Jerry?
Thank you. And again, I'm for this application, but I think maybe we just need to tighten up a timeline of, say, another year, you know, to this day or whatever, to have the stormwater taken care of. I mean, it can't drag on forever. It cannot. And I get the COVID part. So maybe on Pear's end, just throwing a recommendation in there, maybe a year from now, you know, it's got to be complete. But as far as the storage place, let's get that part done now.
Anita?
Thank you. I agree with Jerry. I think that I think Don has made it clear that he's going to be working with Peter and George Ludgate to deal with the problem of the silt. And the storage shed is one issue, and we shouldn't be holding it hostage. But I do have a question for Per. So with the site plan agreement, is there timeline set out for when that particular work should be done?
So through you, Madam Chair, I believe there is a timeline in the site plan agreement. I believe it's already expired, but there's also some latitude for the municipality whether to enforce or not that timeline. Obviously, if we were going to change it, we would need to revise the site plan agreement. Like go back and re-sign it to revise the dates. That could be done. To address maybe Councillor Herron's suggestion, I'm open to wording too for the decision in the variance to have some type of wording with a type line as a condition of the variance as well. If that works for the committee, I'm open to suggestions.
Thank you. Donna?
Yes, I would be in agreement if we put in the condition that the site plan be completed as discussed from 2018 within the year
Of this application.
Yes.
Yeah, well, sorry to interrupt. My only thinking there too is as a condition of a variance, it gets a little complicated because conditions are typically completed before building permit stage, right? If we word it right, we could possibly do it that way because there are post construction approvals, such as you're getting your survey for your foundation plan done after construction, right? We just have to sort of wordsmith correctly for a timeline within the variance.
Andy?
Perhaps what we can put in our decision is something along the lines that the committee reminds the applicant of their obligation to complete the site plan agreement of 2018 period, that there an expectation that the applicant will complete this work by the end of or by October of 2023, and that the applicant will engage with Peter and George by the end of October to address the specific issues raised. So rather, it's a little bit vaguer than a condition, but it's making it clear that our expectation is that they'll get it done by the end of next year. Obviously, if something happens, they'll be back saying, here's where we can't. But it'll also make reference to the fact of Don's commitment to Peter and George, that they'll have that discussion by the end of October. And then with that, I'm very comfortable in approving the minor variance.
All right, and so with I can see agreement from the rest of the committee with what Andy has used in this condition. I am now looking for a mover and a seconder for the application. Jerry and Anita, all in favor?
Madam Chair, could we just be very clear what the committee's approving just for the minutes, please? So if I understand correctly, the committee is approving the variance to move
in that motion.
Yeah, so sorry, you're approving the variance to move forward, but it's not subject to the stormwater management pond being completed by 2023. That's a separate matter. It's not contingent upon the stormwater management pond being completed by the end of 2023 in order to issue the minor variance today.
That's correct. But the condition is that it's a reminder to the applicant that they need to complete that by the end of 2023. So it's not saying that they can't do the shed. It's just saying that you need to get your stormwater management completed by 2023. And the second part of that is that Don, and we're just asking Don to do what he said he would, and I know he will, deal with Peter and George before the end of October.
That's fine. I just wanted to be crystal clear about what the committee was approving, so we reflect that appropriately.
All right, so is everyone in agreement with what has just been said? All right, so I was looking for a motion to approve all of the applications before us today, and it was moved by Jerry, seconded by Anita. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. And we have no deferred matters. Next, we have the minutes of August the 9th for our meeting. Can someone move them? Anita and Donna, all in favor? Carrie, thank you. And motion to adjourn. Our next meeting is November the 8th. Andy and Jerry, in favor? That is carried. We'll take 5 minutes before we start our council. Are we live on YouTube?
Yes, we've just resumed the recording.
All right, this regular council meeting for the Township of Selwyn, Tuesday, September the 27th, at 6 p.m. We respectfully acknowledge that we are on the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississauga and Anishinaabe. We offer our gratitude to the First Peoples for their care for and teachings about our earth and our relations. May we honor those teachings. Please observe a moment of silence so the council, staff, and members of the public can quietly reflect on our duty to the community that we are trying to serve. Thank you. Members of the public, staff, presenters, and members of council, please be advised that meetings are broadcast and recorded and made available on the internet. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none, please note that. We have the minutes of September the 13th. Is there any discussion out of the minutes? Can I have a motion to approve them, please? Donna and Anita, all in favor? Mary, thank you. Were there any questions or question period, Madam Clerk?
No questions.
You. We now have a report from Lily Morrow, our sustainability coordinator. Hello.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just going to share my screen and bring up my presentation. And I would just look for confirmation that you can see my slides. Wonderful, thank you. So good evening, Madam Chair and Council. This evening, I am bringing forth an update on the Township's Climate Change Action Plan, which is intended to be a review of the progress we've made to date, as well as the next steps as we continue to implement this plan. This is also intended to showcase the many initiatives Council has supported over the years, which has allowed the Township to show leadership in taking action towards climate change. This includes supporting actions such as the position of a sustainability coordinator, which ensures that this action continues to be prioritized for the Township. I'll begin with a brief overview of the Climate Change Action Plan, including the goals and themes of the plan before we get into the actions that we've implemented to date. As you are probably aware, the Greater Peterborough Area Climate Change Action Plan was adopted and developed in 2016. This plan includes goals and actions for the community as well as the corporation to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and prepare for the impacts of climate change. The vision that is guiding the action of this plan states that we will reduce our contributions to climate change while increasing our ability to adapt to climate change conditions. The Climate Action Plan includes actions that we can take to mitigate and adapt to climate change, and these actions are organized by priority themes and goals for both the community and the corporation. So I'll start with the community climate plan, which includes 6 themes with 22 strategies and several supporting actions that the Township has been working to implement. This includes themes around our homes, which includes actions around efficiency and resiliency and waste reduction. It includes workplaces and schools, such as supporting climate-friendly business practices and supporting a green economy. It includes on the move, which speaks to alternative transportation like active transportation and supporting public transit, as well as transitioning to low-emission vehicles. Our food includes localizing our food system through supporting local farmers markets and initiatives to reduce organic waste. Our land includes land use policies in support of climate change and sustainability, as well as protecting and enhancing our natural assets. And finally, our people includes encouraging climate awareness, as well as supporting local action by residents and businesses within the Township. On the corporate side, the climate plan focuses action around 5 themes with 9 main strategies, as well as subsequent supporting actions. And these main themes include our buildings and actions to improve energy efficiency and support renewable energy. It includes fleet, such as transitioning our fleet vehicles and developing a green fleet strategy to support that transition. It includes our water and sewage sector, which speaks to improving operational efficiency through energy upgrades and equipment upgrades. Street lighting includes upgrades to our LED street lights, as well as lights within our corporate facilities. And then lastly, solid waste, which strives to reduce our waste generation, conduct audits to understand what's going to the landfill, as well as support things like green procurement and green events. In addition to the goals, the Climate Action Plan also outlined targets for greenhouse gas reductions, which I wanted to provide a brief overview as a reminder of the targets we set and some of the progress we've made towards those targets. For the community, we set a greenhouse gas target of 39% reduction below 2011, which is our baseline year, by 2031. Based on a 2018 update to our greenhouse gas inventory, we did see a slight increase in our community emissions by about 4%. That was primarily in our commercial and industrial sector, as well as smaller amounts due to waste and transportation. And so we know that these could be areas to focus on in the coming years as we strive to make progress towards that target. For the corporation, the greenhouse gas reduction target was a 40% reduction target below the 2011 baseline by 2031. And we have seen a decrease, and we've actually achieved and exceeded that target. So we saw a 53% decrease in emissions based on our 2019 data. We've achieved emissions reductions across all corporate sectors, with the largest decrease being in solid waste due to ongoing diversion efforts. Now that we've reviewed the background of the Climate Action Plan, I'm going to provide a summary of some of the actions that the Township has taken to date to really showcase the progress we've made in taking action towards our climate and greenhouse gas goals. These actions are organized by the guiding themes of the plan that I mentioned a few slides earlier, and so I'll start with the Community Action Plan. Within our homes, we have battery and electronic recycling programs for residents. As of a few years ago, we were collecting and recycling over 2,000 batteries a year through this program. We've installed water refill stations at community centers for the community to use. We've offered school tours at the landfill to educate youth on the importance of waste reduction and recycling. We've initiated the Clear Bag program, which supports diversion by ensuring the separation of waste and recyclables. The Township also offers TerraCycle Zero Waste boxes, which are a recycling program that provides opportunities for residents to recycle products that might not otherwise be accepted through curbside pickup. And so we're currently accepting products for healthcare products and oral care products for our residents. We have our Rain Ready Action Program, and this provides resident subsidies for rain barrels and water-wise garden kits to improve landscaping and stormwater management on private properties. So in 2021, 103 rain barrels and 12 water-wise garden kits were purchased by residents. And so seeing the success of that program, we are currently continuing those subsidies this year for residents as well. For workplaces and schools, the Township, along with several local businesses, participated in a small business lighting program, which supported the conversion to LED lights, saving energy and greenhouse gas emissions. We've offered webinars on greening your business, covering topics like energy efficiency and waste reduction. And we've also developed a green event policy, which we continue to promote to event organizers to reduce the environmental footprint of events that they host in the community. So within On the Move, this includes the completion of a trails master plan, which provides the Township with a long-range strategy for our trails and trail facilities. It also includes the installation of an electric vehicle charger at the Township office for corporate use, as well as for use by the public during certain hours. And this also includes the development of the Link Bus pilot project, which continues to see increased ridership. So between May of last year and May of this year, we did see an over 200% increase in our ridership. And that increase has continued month over month when you're comparing ridership to last year. And that means we're helping to reduce trips taken by single occupant vehicles in the local area, which benefits our climate goals. Our food includes things like supporting our local farmers market and the Lakefield Farmers Market, community gardens and composting, such as at the Lakefield Public School. And we also had a backyard digester program in which we received funding to provide and install 30 digesters for residents in Selwyn Township. Continuing progress on our community strategies, our land includes several shoreline stabilization, naturalization, and tree planting projects that we have initiated or partnered with. This includes the Relief program, in which 150 property owners received, I believe it was a maple tree to plant along their street, along with several ongoing planting partnerships we have with the Otonabee Region Conservation Authority and other local partners. The township also made a Bee City declaration, which includes commitments to protect pollinators and minimize pesticide use on township property. We've undertaken floodplain mapping, which is of increasing importance as climate change progresses, to know where there could be vulnerable areas prone to flooding. We have OP and zoning bylaws to permit second units in dwelling, which help to improve the density of our residential housing stock. We have tree, canopy, and vegetation policy as well, which outlines ways that the township is protecting and enhancing vegetation on public and private lands. And then lastly, the Deep Paved Paradise project, which I'm actually going to discuss further in the next slide, as I wanted to highlight an example of some of the actions and partnerships that the township has participated in as we continue to take action towards climate change. So I'll explain that further next. Just starting with our people. So the township did join the Partners for Climate Protection program, which is a network of over 400 municipalities in Canada working together to take action towards climate change. It offers a milestone-based framework to advance in our progress towards our climate goals, as well as a tool to help track and monitor our greenhouse gas emissions. In 2021, the township achieved milestone 5, which is the highest distinction in the PCP program, meaning that we have a greenhouse gas inventory, an action plan, and we are now monitoring our progress towards those commitments. We have our Rain Ready Action program, which I've already mentioned, as well as our school tours that we've offered of the landfill, as well as the water treatment plant, which help inform youth in the community about the importance of the environment. So as I mentioned, I did just want to further highlight the Deep Paved Paradise project, as it's a great example of some of the work that's been achieved in the community and the tangible benefits that these actions can have as we prepare for climate change. So this was a partnership with the township, as well as Green Communities Canada and Winfield Shores. They de-paved and planted 100-meter square pocket park in July of 2021. And so you can see the sort of before and after picture on the screen there. And this planting is helping to divert 75,000 liters of rainwater each year. And that's the equivalent to 340 rain barrels. So a small planting, which is diverting a large amount of water from our stormwater system, which will ultimately help us as we prepare for the anticipated impacts of climate change, including increased rainfall. Moving on to the progress we've made at the corporate level. So within our building sector, this includes that we have an energy management plan, which outlines actions we are taking to conserve energy use and improve efficiencies in our facilities. We've completed facility retrofit projects across numerous facilities, which have led to reductions in our energy use and greenhouse gas emissions. We've installed an electric vehicle charger, which I mentioned, and with that purchased a hybrid vehicle for our fleet. And we've also installed 6 solar systems across our facilities. And over the lifespan of those solar installations, they've generated 2.3 million kilowatt hours of energy. And that's equivalent to the annual energy consumed by 213 homes. Within our fleet, we've purchased battery operated ice equipment for our arenas, our plug-in hybrid vehicle, which I did mention. We also reallocate vehicles to other departments to extend the life cycle of the assets. And we've strived to improve the environmental performance of our fleet through right-sizing our vehicles and installing anti-idling and other fuel-efficient technology. For water and sewage, we have completed mechanical upgrades at the Lakefield Water Treatment Plant to improve energy efficiency. And this includes installing a building automation system, allowing the plant to run on demand as opposed to 24/7, which has led to energy savings. We also track the energy use and greenhouse gas emissions from this sector to ensure that we're making progress and identify areas for future improvements. For streetlights, this includes several updates to streetlights and outdoor lights in Selwyn Township, as well as lighting retrofits in our own facilities, which has ultimately led to a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. So you can see on the screen the reduction in greenhouse gas emissions that has been achieved in these two sectors. Since 2011, emissions have decreased by 72% from our water and our sewage sector and 88% for our streetlights. So lastly, I want to highlight the progress we've made in our solid waste sector. The township offers several diversion programs, including recycling, backyard composting, electronics recycling, our hazardous waste depot, leaf and yard collection, as well as our clear bag program. And through these diversion efforts, we've not only reduced our greenhouse gas emissions, but we've also extended the life of our landfill. The township undertook a service review, which provided recommendations for future improvements at the landfill, and this included completing an annual waste audit to understand the composition of material coming into the landfill so that we can make improvements to our diversion programs in the future. On the screen there, just a quick stat on our waste. In 2021, the township's waste diversion rate increased to 54% for a total of over 3,700 tons of waste being diverted. And so it's encouraging to see our diversion increase as we continue to promote our existing diversion programs that we offer. And just as we are sort of wrapping up, I want to highlight the next steps for the township as we continue to advance our climate goals. So I'll start with the community. Upcoming actions for the community include updating our greenhouse gas inventory and providing a report to council, highlighting our progress that's been made in the past few years, as well as next steps for emissions reduction. We are also exploring a food cycler pilot program. So food cyclers are a small kitchen appliance that provide an indoor compost alternative for residents. And this would help us to improve our diversion of organic material, as well as appeal to residents that might not be keen on backyard composting. Food cyclers would be provided at a subsidized cost for residents, and in turn, residents collect data on how much waste that they generate for a pilot period. Neighboring municipalities have implemented similar programs with success, including Trent Lakes. And so we're currently in the process of exploring a pilot program for residents in Selwyn Township, and we're hoping to gauge public interest around that program. We're also exploring the development of a sustainable development program, which could set targets as well as offer financial incentives to encourage homeowners to retrofit their homes to be more energy efficient. We're currently exploring funding and partnerships that could support the development of that program. And then lastly, for upcoming actions, we are exploring funding opportunities to implement a tree giveaway to provide trees to private property owners and helping with restoration efforts following the storm in May. And that would be similar to the township's relief program that ran in the past. Additional efforts that are ongoing include the Rain Ready Action Program, which I mentioned, which provides subsidies for rain barrels and water-wise garden kits, in partnership with RENA. We're continuing to promote existing waste diversion policies and programs, including the green event policies, selling our composters and digesters, and promoting the clear bag program. And we're also working to encourage action from our residents and businesses. And this includes offering school tours of the landfill again this fall, attending community events like the Lakefield Farmers Market to raise awareness about our sustainability initiatives, and also working to promote programs like a Green Economy Peterborough to local businesses. For the corporation, upcoming actions also include updating our greenhouse gas inventory to track the progress that's been made over the past couple of years. Piloting an energy management software. So we currently are piloting Energy Cap. We've been given a 6-month free trial to test the software, and this software would automatically track the township's energy use. So currently all of our energy use is tracked manually to monitor our progress as well as complete mandated reporting. And so this would offer efficiencies in staff time and allow us to more efficiently identify areas for improvements and future upgrades. We are currently, as of today, we applied for funding to plant a vegetative buffer at the campground in Lakefield. This was a recommendation in the Lakefield Campground Utilization Study, and this was recommended due to the impacts human activity are having on the adjacent wetland. This is a planting project that will be done in partnership with the Otonabee Region Conservation Authority, as well as in consultation with Curve Lake First Nation, and would lead to environmental and community benefits as well. We're also working to explore funding for electric vehicle chargers. There is currently federal funding available for EV chargers, and we're hoping to work together on a local initiative with neighboring municipalities that would support the installation of more electric vehicle chargers in the community. This is a really critical step in order to accelerate community adoption of electric vehicles, and it would help to reduce our transportation-related emissions in the community. We're also currently working in partnership with Fleming College to conduct a waste audit at the landfill. As I mentioned, this was a recommendation in the service delivery review of the landfill, and it will allow us to better understand the materials that are coming into our landfill to then seek to improve our diversion programs. Ongoing actions include energy management and reporting, which is mandated by the government, but allows us to monitor our ongoing usage in our facilities, as well as from our solar installations. We continue to monitor the ridership of the Link bus and evaluate public feedback that was collected during a survey this past summer. And we do intend to complete a more comprehensive evaluation in the coming years as we consider the longevity of that service. We also currently have a tender out to purchase a fully electric vehicle for the township, which again just showcases council's commitment and support for climate action. So that's all I have. I know that was a lot of information, but I'm hoping that provided a good overview of the township's climate action plan and the continued progress we make as we strive to implement the plan. So I'll stop sharing my screen, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Lily. Anyone who says that we're not involved in climate action plans certainly hasn't any inkling of all the things that you've been doing. Thank you for a job well done. Anita.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That was an excellent, excellent report, Lily, and very comprehensive and answers a lot of questions in a very succinct and clear way. I think on your fourth to last slide, you were talking about so that the waste diversion, and then in 2020 it went way down and then back up again. I'm assuming that's COVID related.
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, you're correct. The decreased diversion in 2022 per the county's report was likely a result of more people being at home and the use of more single-use materials during that time.
Thank you. Donna?
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Lily, for the presentation. It was very good. I want to go back to something you mentioned in one of the earlier slides that I don't know anything about. A TerraCycle zero waste box. What are they and where can a person get them?
Through you, Madam Chair. So a TerraCycle is a company. They offer recycling for hard to recycle items. So we're talking toothpaste, bottles and things like that, where they've formed market demand or secondary uses for those materials. I believe they're accessible to anyone. TerraCycle has a website where you can purchase those boxes. Currently for the township, we have 2 boxes in the township office, and we do promote them to the public to use.
Oh, so we couldn't get one and put it at the curb?
No, to my knowledge, no, it would be placed in a place of business where many people could access it.
Okay, thank you.
Gary?
Thank you. Through you to Lily. Nice presentation. Thank you very much. And in fact, it's funny, you kind of forget about all the stuff you've done. You guys have certainly been busy, in council as a whole here. You know, we've done a lot of stuff, again, that you kind of forget about because it's so long ago. So the question for you is something that has been brought up before with finances with Lane. We've got healthy reserves, so sometimes we don't qualify for grants because we're too rich, and they'll give it to some of the poorer townships, if you will. Because of our success in being down 53% right now on those after the 2011, because we've done so well at it, does that disqualify us from future grants or funding because people who aren't doing as well as us would get that funding because they need the help?
Lane?
Or Lily, actually. Or yeah, either or, somebody. I'm just curious.
Through you, Madam Chair, I'll try to answer that, and then Lane can certainly provide comments. To my knowledge, that's not a barrier to funding applications. If anything, it showcases all the work that we've done and the leadership that we have shown to our community and our want to continue that action. But I'm not sure if Lane would be more well-versed in the financial aspects of that.
No, I just build on Lily's comments, really. I think that any of the applications that we're going to be looking at for some of the areas that Lily's outlined, probably some of the innovative things that we have done and some of the approaches that we've taken is taken more into account than just the bottom line. So some of the grants I think that Councillor Heron was talking about, definitely in the water, wastewater area because of our reserves there and the fact that it's user pay, those types of things, that has worked against us in the past. But I think in the areas that Lily has outlined for sustainability, I think we should be in good stead for any of the applications.
Okay. Is that a legacy hand you have up there, Donna, or do you have another question? Andy?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Lily, thank you for the presentation, excellent presentation, and I agree with Jerry. Sometimes you need to hear it all at once to know the extent of what you've done. Just a very general question. So I believe that we do a really good job in terms of education, and you've outlined all the stuff that we're doing on the mitigation side. Just wonder, and maybe this is more at the planning side than anything else, on the adaptation side, where do you see us going in that respect?
Through you, Madam Chair, I think, this plan does include both mitigation and adaptation. So oftentimes we might be implementing an action that has a mitigation focus, but it also benefits climate adaptation. And I think as we become more aware and see the impacts of climate change happening in our communities, adaptation will be of increasing focus. But I think we're well versed in some of the plans and approaches we've already taken, floodplain mapping, some of our OP and zoning bylaws and things like that. It's certainly something that we are taking action towards within this plan and our sustainability initiatives.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it'll be very interesting to see what the stats are next year because our clear bags didn't really come into full force until September of 2021. So those numbers should even increase with our diversion next year. Thank you very much again for your presentation. I'm looking for someone to, I need you to move it, Donna, to second to receive the presentation. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Larry. We'll now go to consent items. Is there anything anyone wants? Seeing nothing, we will now go to council portfolio updates. Donna, start us off.
Thank you very much. The first thing I have is the link, and it appears that the Trent participation has increased ridership considerably. From early September, the Trent ridership was a total for route number 31 riders, route number 32 18 riders, and in later September increased route 31 up to 81 riders and route 32 64 riders. So that certainly was a good agreement to strike with Trent University. The library, we were questioning last time whether the makerspace is open. It is now open, and you probably have received, or maybe not yet, an invitation to the opening ceremonies on October 11th from 11 to 12. And hopefully as many council can come as possible. I think that's a Tuesday, I'm not certain. RAC, I have referred to the 50th anniversary celebration for the Ennismore Community Center, but I just wanted to refresh your memory. It's October the 23rd at 2 p.m. upstairs at the community center. Hopefully as many council can attend as possible, because it's really a celebration of community members working together to build the first community center. It was not totally a township-driven project, although the township did participate with some money. But the original, most of the work was done by the people of the community. And we have done, or we're going to do, personal invites to as many people as we could determine from photographs and past literature to come and attend, or the children if their parents were involved and they have passed. So hopefully we have a good turnout, and there will be a plaque to put up in the community center. There will be t-shirts which resemble the original shirts that were printed, a center for you in 72. So these t-shirts will say a center for you in 72, 50 years later, and they will be $25. And just to refresh your memory about the Police Services Board and our speed awareness sign, it is on Gifford now, and we haven't had another meeting to determine how much longer we'll keep it there. The next focus would be Woodland and Tara, and then the next Police Services Board can decide locations after that. That's all.
Yeah. Jerry?
Yes, geez, Gifford must be one busy road. That sign's always over there. The boys have finished sweeping the roads that they tarred and chipped this year. Fixing up some graveled roads, and they're putting culverts in while the season's still good, and they're waiting on some locates for a couple roads to finish them off. As for the Park and Rec, both arenas are in full operation, and everything's going well there. And of course, the grand opening of the Secret Garden and the River Den on Friday. Let's see, the Secret Garden made the Examiner today, so gonna probably be a good crowd there. So maybe I'll comb my hair. The campground and marina seasons are winding down after a good, successful season on both. And that's about it for me. Gifford Drive.
Thank you. Anita?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I attended the Curve Lake Powwow last weekend. It was nice to see it back after COVID. Very nice to see all the dancers and everything. Sherry and I were at the Abbeyfield event on Saturday afternoon. It's going to be quite an amazing project, and I didn't realize that the property was so large. And people have some concerns about this large building. It's going to be way back in the back, and it's going to be actually a very nice location. Jerry talked about the Secret Garden and the River Den. Our Heritage Committee is rescheduled, so I'm not sure when that's going to happen. We have the Accessibility Committee tomorrow, and I think that's it.
Thank you very much, Andy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, from the county's perspective, just to let colleagues know that the official plan was submitted to the province. They have, however, invoked a provision where they have said they will now take longer than the prescribed 120 days to get back to us. There's a certain amount of irony in that when you consider what they're doing with Bill 109, but I'll leave that irony just sit there. Donna and I'm not sure if others may have attended later, but Donna and I were at the PIC for the Causeway. And it was well attended. And so in 2023, work will be done on the bridge. A new roadway will be put down. A multi-use path trail will be installed. Lighting will be installed. Work will be done at the Rotary Park. This construction is taking place on an ongoing basis, so there will be traffic disruptions that people will need to deal with as that work is completed. The Transportation Master Plan, I believe our final meeting is scheduled for next week, and then it will go to county council in this term of council. I think the commitment is there, and there'll be a number of things in there that impact our township. The environmental assessment will have to be redone for Ward Street, given the decisions that flow out of that plan and out of the basically from out of that plan. There's a housing meeting that's taking place on Thursday. This comes in part from a motion that Jerry was part of putting together for county council as a response to that. From a public health standpoint, just wanted to mention that the bivalent vaccines are now available for, or eligibility is for people over the age of 18. It had originally been for people 70 and over and other high-risk groups, so it's now for people who are 18 and over. And that's my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Andy. So I was on an agri roundtable farm tour last week, which included the mill and dairy farm. It was very informative and will become an annual thing. Travis Finney, Dave Hope, Corey Newman, and Evan Topars graduated from a firefighter training. I attended the award ceremony in Norwood last week. As Andy mentioned, there were a lot of people that attended the Causeway Bridge work. In fact, I believe there were 85 people that attended that. It was really well attended. Normally our picks, we're lucky to get 6 or 7 people there. So a lot of people wanted to know what's going on with that causeway. And that's my report. Now I need a mover and a seconder for the consent items. Andy and Donna, all in favor? It's carried. Is there any other new and unfinished business? Okay, before we go into closed, I need to know from council, are you interested in having an in-person meeting for our last meeting on November the 8th? Yes? Okay, if staff can make sure that that happens, appreciate that very much. And we have a bylaws 2022-066 authorizing a demolition agreement and 2022-067 authorizing merger agreements. Moved by Anita, seconded by Andy, all in favor. That's carried. Can I have a motion to go into close, please? Donna and Jerry, all in favor. We'll be going directly onto that phone call. Thank you.